Yo, what is up guys, it was Ikage here with a new what if. And this what if is what if Deku had divine dividing. And I've honestly been sitting on this idea probably since December, like early December, and I saw someone comment it and I was like, yes, great minds do think alike. So I'm here with it. I honestly don't know why I'm starting a new what if when I have so much things doing, but yo, this idea, I just had the inspiration to do it. Honestly, don't even know if I'm gonna finish it, but I'll try. So with all that talking out the way, hope you guys are going to enjoy the what if. So like regular Izukage fashion, I'm gonna hit you with a little backstory. So the world of High School DxD is long gone. The fights between the different factions, the devil, fallen angels, and angels, have been resolved. All the gods are just chilling somewhere enjoying the peace. So while this is all happening, due to all the battles in the past, like before the peace treaty was formed, all this magical power affected the humans, and this caused them to awaken the quirk gene. So 300 years later, and we have the My Hero world as we know it. And during this time, Issei had become the successor of Sir Zex and ruler of the underworld, and he has his harem, and he's still alive, like along with everybody else from the show, like all his friends from the show. And Volley, he's chilling somewhere, and he's hearing Issei is all this and all that, and he's like, the Red Dragon Emperor? No, I'm the #1 dragon around here. So he pulls up on Issei and his harem, and I don't really want to explain a fight, but a fight breaks out, and Issei defeats Volley because he's the ruler of the underworld. He's had a boost in magical power. He isn't the wimp from the show that we know. Like, he actually knows how to do like the magic that Rias and her people are doing, stuff like that. So yeah, he manages to kill Volley, and coincidentally, as he kills Volley, Izuku was being born. So once Volley dies, the spirit of Albion, aka the White Dragon Emperor, went to Izuku. And it wouldn't awaken for now, but yeah, the spirit still goes into him. So let's time skip 4 years. And Izuku's life has been going pretty normal up until he went to the doctors and got the news that he was quirkless. And in this, Izuku still had his love for heroes. He always wanted to be one, but hearing he's quirkless, he knows he can, there's no quirkless hero. So he's crushed, like, his dreams just come crumbling down. So the next day at school is when all the bullying starts, and Izuku would get tripped, he would get beaten up, like he would get exploded by Bakugo, but there was always this girl that stuck up for him. Like, he never talked to her, she never came to talk to him, she just always did it for some reason. So he's even more confused. But her personality really matches her looks. She has really long red hair, and it looks like silk almost. And Izuku would be just mesmerized by her her beauty. And she would always find Izuku like daydreaming while looking at her. So let's time skip a year, and Izuku actually decides to train. He's always being protected by a girl, and this got to Izuku. But yeah, it's time out for a second. I know, like, I'm not being sexist or anything. Female can do whatever a man can, but come on, it really hits your ego when a girl has to do all the work for you. So Izuku, he feels this, his ego takes a huge hit, but he'll recover. So one day Izuku mustered up enough courage to talk to her. He is at home putting on his uniform to go to school, and he's just thinking about all the possibilities of what could occur from him doing this. So Izuku goes to class, he enters class, and he sees her like sitting at the back of the room looking out the window like a real anime protagonist. So he grabs his bag straps and begins walking towards her, but as usual, he gets tripped by one of the kids and falls headfirst into the ground. And this you know, like it might look like nothing in anime, but falling like right onto your face, that gonna cause a lot of damage. Plus Izuku is like 5. So Bakugo, seeing this, is laughing, and Izuku is like bleeding from his forehead at this point. And you know, Bakugo is just laughing it up, like, oh, look at this quirkless, like I don't know, this quirkless nobody. So he starts walking towards Deku, but the same girl jumped in the way trying to protect him, and Bakugo is just fed up with her. Like, he's just fed up with her, and he tells his goons to grab her, and they, you know, grab both her hands, putting them behind her back, and he begins creating sparks in his hands, preparing an explosion. And Izuku starts having flashbacks to all the times she's saved him, and after working out all day and night, he can't even help himself. Then he heard a loud, echoey voice. Do you want to help her? You know, Izuku, not knowing what this is, hesitated, but the point of his training, you know, for a whole year was to get stronger. So, you know, if he can be in any means necessary, he said yes. So he said yes. And 2 pairs of wings shoot out of his back, and everyone in the class was surprised. And you know, the bully with the wings, he's looking like, brother? It's like, but yeah, Izuku started getting up, and Bakugo is like, oh, so you think you're tough now because he got some dumb quirk? Well, it's not as stronger than mine. And Bakugo goes for an explosion, but Izuku dodges and punches him in the stomach. And you know, he's 5, it doesn't really do much. Bakugo just basically brushes this off and goes, as he goes for another explosion, you know, the spark still in his hands. Izuku instinctively shouts, "Divide!" And Bakugo, who was about to throw the explosion, is just like, the explosion disappeared from his hands and he fell to his knees. Izuku then, using Bakugo's strength, kicks him in the face and sends him to the back of the class, into the lockers, making a huge dent in them. And you know, everyone's like, oh damn, is that Izuku? And you know, everyone's like, oh holy, and you know, people are going to check on Bakugo, see if he's alright. And you know, Izuku, he falls over because this is the first time he's using it, and you know, if you do overuse the Longinus, it like drains your stamina. So he falls, but the red-haired girl catches him, and because you know, the red-haired girl catches him, and you know, Izuku is looking up at her, and he sees her face, and he thinks, how can one person be this beautiful? And you know, as he's thinking this, she starts healing Izuku, and let me explain her quirk. It's called Magic Circle. She can create these, she can have magic circles come out of her hands, and these circles can do whatever, really. Heal someone, shoot out elemental magic, stuff like that. So yeah, before Izuku passes out, he looks to her and asks, like, what's your name? And she smiles and says, Rias Gremory. And Izuku passes out. So he wakes up at the end of the school day. Everyone's gone home and he's in the infirmary. So, you know, everyone's gone, so he goes home as well. Yeah. So as the years pass, Izuku and Rias have been talking more and more, and now Bakugo knows not to mess with Izuku because he doesn't want that, because before he got hit, he felt like his soul left his body. Because half your power, that's honestly a lot. Like in the show, it doesn't seem like a lot, but half your power, that's a lot. So Izuku still signs up to go to UA, and Rias and Bakugo do as well. So when the teacher announces this, everyone, you know, they're not laughing because Izuku is obviously as strong, if not stronger, than Bakugo. And you know, before he even hit Bakugo, they saw him fall to the ground. So he has something more than just strength. Plus he has the wings. So so nothing really happens. Everyone knows Izuku's about that life. He's about the fights. And yeah, Bakugo doesn't say anything. So after school, you know, Izuku's packing up his bags, and he goes over to Rias and he asks if he could like walk her home, you know, just a little walk to get to know each other. And Rias gets a bit nervous, but you know, this is really out of character for her because she's always the first one to do something. She's the most energetic, but she finally agrees, and they begin going towards her house, and they go to like the bad part of town, and Izuku is kind of getting a bit nervous, like, he's just nervous because his mom always told him not to go to this side of town while walking home. So they go down an alleyway, and Izuku asks her, he's like, I don't think there's any houses down here. And she's like, yeah, I know. And Izuku is just like, okay. And she goes to this door in the alleyway, and she pulls out a key, and she turns it and opens it, and it's not a room, it's like a portal in the door. And she just walks through casually, and Izuku, he's surprised at this, but he's not gonna stay in the alleyway, so he walks in behind her, and this portal takes them to the underworld, where what's his name? What's his name? Issei, yeah, where Issei and his harem is. And I'll say Rias, like this Rias is like the daughter of Issei and Rias, but he named her it's confusing, but just stay with me, just stay with me. So they go, and she's walking towards the palace, and Rias, like, oh my god, this is gonna get confusing. Rias, like the mom, like older Rias, sees her daughter walking with this boy, and she runs up to her, and she's, first she hugs her daughter, is like, how was school, yada yada yada, and then she looks over at Izuku and says, who's he? And the younger Rias is just laughs a bit and says, well, he's a school friend. He's like, okay. And Rias runs up on Izuku and starts like asking him a bunch of questions, like, what's your intentions with my daughter, stuff like that. And after answering Rias, the older Rias is like, okay, this is not a bad kid, I guess. So they go inside, and Izuku meets Rias's like whole family and stuff, and Issei walks in because he was like gone somewhere at a meeting or something. And as he's walking in the house, he can sense, he doesn't know what it is, he just thinks Vali. So he goes on guard thinking, like somehow Vali was still alive. And he busts in through the dining room like doors because they were like eating or some shit. So he busts through the door, and he's like, Vali, where are you? And he looks around, sees everyone eating, and Rias, like the older one, is like, Issei, are you okay? And he's like, I swore I sensed Vali. And Issei is looking around the room and sees Izuku and says, he starts saying, like, who are you? What are you doing in my house? And the older Rias explains that, this is one of Rias's classmates, yada yada yada. And Issei is still worried about this kid and like what he could do, but he doesn't press the issue much because he does look kind of crazy right now. And while they were over dinner explaining stuff, Izuku explained that like he has these powers, like these the power to divide someone's strength. And this catches Issei's ears. He's like, oh, so this is the like the next of kin, I guess, to Vali. Basically, Vali's successor, I should say. So that goes down. Issei doesn't really say anything about it, and they go, and oh my god, Izuku goes back like to the overworld and goes home, basically. And it's pretty late at this point. Let's say it's 9 o'clock, and he walks in. Inko is like, where have you been? And Izuku is just like, I was at one of my friend's house. And Inko is like, friends? I thought you were a loner. And Izuku's like, Mom, what? What made you think I'm a loner? So just some funny stuff like that happens. And let's say, oh yeah, this is the 10-month training period. So, oh yeah, the sludge villain thing, it doesn't really happen. I would say the sludge villain finds another person trying to take over their body, and while they were doing that, All Might comes up, punches the sludge villain, bottles it, and takes it to the police station. So, one thing, I forgot to say it, but I'll get into it. So, after that, the next day rolls around, and Izuku goes back to meet, Rias at the park, and they go to her house. And by the way, it's like this in the underworld. It's this massive mansion with like really long hallways and gigantic doors. But yeah, the reason why Izuku went back is because over dinner, Issei, agreed to train Izuku, like in the ways of the dragon, like if you can call it that. So yeah, they train. Izuku trains his dividing abilities. Now he can divide, like in the first 5 months, he can almost like immobilize like Issei in his scale mail armor. And this is because Issei is way stronger than where we left him in canon. So that's why it's like harder for dividing to drain him. And Izuku's way more inexperienced. So yeah, while they're training, Izuku also does learn how to do some of the magical like abilities that demons have. Well, it's not only demons, but yeah, the magical abilities they use in the show. Also, earlier when I was talking about like the young Rias's quirk, it's actually not a quirk, she just calls it that, but yeah, that's just how I would explain it. So Izuku learns how to do some of those, none really to attack, only for defense purposes, because why not? But yeah, I just don't want that to be the main focus of his powers. Yeah, so he can just deflect attacks with that. And there is an ability with the sacred gear he has to reflect abilities. So yeah, I won't give him that for now, but yeah. So during the 10 months, during the other 5 months, Izuku increases his speed while flying, because Volley can like fly at the speed of light. So I would say Izuku is almost there. I'd say the speed of sound, not really fast, but fast enough. But yeah, around that. So yeah, Izuku does that, and he also like learned how to unlock his scale mail armor. Yeah, but he can't do it for very long, probably a minute at max. So yeah, let's go with that. And so after all this training, the day of the UA entrance exam finally comes. And during all this training, Izuku has actually been like staying with Rias, like staying at their house. Obviously, they don't sleep in the same room. So after training one day, like 2 days before the entrance exam, Izuku, he's just straight chilling. Man is chilling in his room. The beds are massive, like probably 4 or 5 people can fit on the bed. So Izuku is lying down in his room. He's like on YouTube, like looking at, like listening some videos from Izukage. That's his favorite YouTuber. So he's just listening videos, and he hears a knock at the door. He goes to answer, and he opens it, and Rias just jumps onto Izuku, like pushes him on the ground and jumps onto him. And Izuku's like, what are you doing? And Rias just says, I just missed you. And Izuku gets up and he says, you could have just like said something or just text me. He's like, nah, I just want to see you in person. So that happens, and they go and chill on Izuku's bed, and nothing really happens. They just talk a bit, and Rias says, so like, what are we? And Izuku's like, what do you mean? He's like, what are we, like, are we like in a relationship? And Izuku, he never really thought of this, because his main motivation was to get stronger, to be able to protect Rias. But if he thinks about it, why does he want to protect Rias? That's because he likes her. So Izuku just explains that to him. He explains like the real reason why he fights is because of her. And Rias is like, oh really? Like she never knew. So Izuku is just like, yeah. And Rias is like, this is why you make a good boyfriend. And Izuku's like, whoa, and she jumps onto him, and they like hug and stuff. But yeah, nothing really bad happens. So yeah, the next day rolls around. Izuku finally goes back to his house for once, because during this training he's just been chilling at Rias's house. Like, why wouldn't he? It's a huge mansion. So he gets home, like he's obviously been texting his mom now and then, but yeah, he gets home, and You know, Inko is ignoring him. She's just watching TV. He says, "Hey, mom." And Inko is just watching TV. And he's like, okay. And then he says, well, I'm going to go, like, prepare for tomorrow, like, entrance exams. And Inko still doesn't say anything. And Izuku's like, what's wrong with her? So he goes up to her and he taps her on the shoulder. Is like, is something wrong? And, you know, she turns around. She's crying. She's like, oh, why would you leave me alone in this house for so long? Like, you know you're going to be gone when you're older. And Izuku's like, whoa, mom, why are you crying? So, you know, they hug it out. Yeah, Inko just felt really lonely without Izuku. Especially now that he's going to start, like, high school. So she's going to see her even less. So that happens, and yeah, the next day rolls around. It's entrance exam time, and Izuku meets up with Reyes at the gates of UA, and they head in. You know, I'd say normally I would leave it here, but nah, I can't do that. I gotta keep going. So they walk in. Izuku doesn't trip, because even if he does, he could just like fly up with his wings. You know, they basically come out instantly. So Izuku goes in and he sees Bakugo. You know, he's in front of them, and Bakugo turns around and sees Izuku. And you know, Bakugo's been training. You know, he doesn't want to be treated like some ragdoll anymore. So he built up some like muscle and stuff, and with that muscle came ego. So as Izuku is passing, Bakugo like steps on his shoe, and Izuku is pissed. He turns at Bakugo and he's like, so what are you gonna do? And Izuku, like, without even activating his wings, he's like, divide. And Bakugo is like, oh, wait, no. And, you know, Bakugo feels his strength leaving him, and Izuku says it again, divide. And, you know, Bakugo is like kneeling down at this point, and Izuku says again, divide. And Bakugo is breathing heavily, but Ida comes up and says, hey, what are you doing? You're not allowed to use your quirk on school property. And, you know, Izuku is like, huh, what quirk? And, you know, Ida is looking around. You know, he didn't really activate anything, so there was no sign of him using his quirk. Just this guy was just on the ground for no reason. And Ida was like, oh, sorry, I thought you were doing something to him. He's like, no, nothing. So he just grabs Reyes' hand and they walk into the exam room. So things go down as usual. Ida, he's like, what about the 0-pointer? He gets owned. Yeah, so also the written portion happens. Izuku doesn't score hella high because he's mainly been training physically, but you know, he still has his smarts from canon, so he isn't a complete musclehead. So to the physical portion of the exam, and you know, while they're waiting, Izuku and Reyes is just chatting at the back. So you know, they're at the back, so not Reyes, Ida doesn't really care. No, he just thinks, oh, there's just some delinquents. So as you know, President Mike is like, there's no countdown in a real match. Go, go, go. You know, Izuku and Reyes sprout their wings and they fly off like in front of everyone, even though they were at the back. And Ida was like, how is he so fast? So they go around. Reyes like Reyes is using her like magical circles to do some stuff that Akuno would do, like with her electricity, stuff like that. Yeah, so she's doing that, like frying some robots, and Izuku is using divide and divide. Wait, no, I'll say you can't use divide. Wait, yeah, you can. Well, this type of divide that he's using right now, I'd say he can't use that on inanimate objects. So the divide he's using right now is only for like strength of something. But yeah, there is one in the show where he can literally shrink like buildings and stuff like that. So Izuku is going around just using his strength to using his scale mail armor. Yeah, using his scale mail armor to just punch holes through the robots, because his like armor is made up of way stronger metal than any of these robots. So he's punching through them left and right. You know, he easily takes them down. And when it comes to the 0-pointer, there's no Uraraka scene. Izuku Izuku and Rias like team up on this. So Rias boosts Rias volunteers herself like as like basically a battery for Izuku. So he halves her power twice and uses that newfound strength to destroy the Zero Pointer in one hit. So Rias is kind of like, she can't use her magic anymore, like at least to her full potential. So she's walking and Izuku like carries her because, you know, she kind of did, you know, give up herself for, you know, for the team. So they go back home, like Izuku carries her home. Because they've been going to her from her house anytime, like the key that I said Rias used to like open the door, that key can be used on any door to enter the underworld. So they just open a door in the training ground and she brings her home. You know, he lays her down in her bed and yeah, she's just chilling. And you know, she's a demon, she'll like heal pretty quick. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave this one off. So tell me if you guys like it. If you want Izuku to have a harem as well, I'll put up a poll. You know, tell me if you'd like that or you just want Rias. Personally, I'd say I just want Rias. Like too many girls, I can't keep track of. So yeah. Also, Rick, that isn't cancelled, or Infinity Stones. I just got this idea to do. I'm probably gonna drop Infinity Stones part 3 tomorrow, and if you didn't see part 2, that was uploaded, go back to part 1, the link will be in the description. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked it, if you like my content in general, why not subscribe? That helps your boy out, that helps me, you know, just basically my motivation. So yo, click that subscribe button, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next What If.